I feel like we need to have a discussion about honor. So, hey y'all. Good morning. It's Dolores, the pastor's daughter. So, for today I was thinking about this scripture, and I'm laying down right now, so I hope you can hear me clearly. I just a little tired today. I was up late doing live broadcast, pretty much talking to my father. And so I'm kind of tired. So I guess I'm just going to take a nap in a little bit. But I wanted to just come on for a minute and talk about honor. So we've all, heard this scripture before. We've seen this, right? We've seen this before. And this is the NIV version. Let me see. Let me go to I remember I told you guys I really like the Message Bible. So let's go there. Ephesians 6, 1 through 4. Children, do what your parents tell you. This is only right. Honor your father and mother is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. Namely, so you will live well and have a long life. Fathers, don't exasperate your children by coming down hard on them. Take them by the hand and lead them in the way of the master. Okay, so let's go to the New Living Translation. Okay. Ephesians 6, 1 through 4. Again, children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord. For this is the right thing to do. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on the earth. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. So, we really don't hear this verse 4, right? We don't really hear that much. Of course, you're going to hear it a lot in relation to my book, because I named my book based on this scripture and based on the dynamic and what was happening between my father and I. But let's not focus on that scripture for now, right? And let's just focus on this scripture here. Excuse me, you guys. So let's just focus on this scripture and let's talk about honor for a moment. And people like to throw around this, honor your mother and your father, honor your father and your mother, well, that whole thing. But we really don't actually put a definition, or we really don't have an in-depth discussion about what honor means, right? We kind of leave that open for interpretation. And so I believe that a lot of you will deem what I have been doing in, exposing my father and everything that has been going on, and especially the way that I'm doing it, to be dishonorable. Like that you assess this to mean like you have determined that I am in violation of this scripture. Let's just put it out there. That's what you believe. And I understand that, right? I understand where that whole thought process comes from, because that's what we've been taught this whole time, right? That's exactly what we've been taught. No one's really drilled down on what that means exactly. So we've just assessed anything that makes us uncomfortable or anything that we wouldn't do ourselves. We deem that to be dishonoring our parents. Well, you deem my behavior to be dishonorable to my father. But here's why I want to take a deeper look into this, because I don't agree. I don't agree that what I have been doing has been dishonorable. And so let's look at the definition of honor. Okay, just a second. And so here is the definition of honor. The first definition is high respect, great esteem. Second is adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. And then if you go down some to the verb of the word honor, regard with great respect. And then that second definition is fulfill an obligation or keep an agreement. Okay? So now let's take that and think about that in terms of how the Bible means it, right? And what the Bible is saying. I can't really say that I know what the Bible means exactly. But if we take the definition of honor in that kind of open interpretation, then we have to kind of like break it down in this way. How do you show honor to your parent, right? By having high respect, great esteem for them. In this first definition. Second definition, by adhering to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Right? So then I would have to ask you then, how have I dishonored my father in this way? Doesn't this almost, just by definition, in this open interpretation that we have, doesn't it almost mean that he has dishonored himself? How has he shown high respect and great esteem for himself? Not even talking about for me. How has he shown adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct? And then if we take that back and we just keep the focus on me and my behavior, then how have I not adhered to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct? Have I not done that? And have I not also shown righteous anger in the fact that my father has not done that? He has not adhered to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. As it says here in this second definition there. So then let's take this, on another level here. Let's look up the definition of dishonor. Because if I am in violation of the scripture, then that would mean that we would need to look up the antithesis of honor. We would have to look up the opposite of honor, which is dishonor. And then let's look up that definition and see how my behavior has met that criteria, so to speak. Okay, so here we have the definition of dishonor. And so like I was saying, if we believe that my behavior and my exposing my father has somehow violated the scripture and that says for children to honor their father and their mother, right? So that would mean that I have dishonored him in some way. So let's look at that definition. So the first, as a noun, the definition of dishonor is a state of shame or disgrace. Okay, a state of shame or disgrace. And the verb form of the word means to bring shame or disgrace on. Second definition, fail to observe or respect an agreement or principle. So then the question becomes, if I am in violation of the scripture, you are saying that I have dishonored, right? But according to the definition of dishonor, how does my behavior fit into that? How does my calling my father out and speaking against abuse, how does that bring dishonor to my parents? How does that bring dishonor to my father? Did I or am I responsible for any state of shame or disgrace? Would my behavior be what causes shame or disgrace on my family? Or would it be the abuse that was inflicted and perpetuated throughout? Bring shame or disgrace on. Number 2, fail to observe or respect an agreement or a principle. How? Have I failed to observe or respect an agreement or principle? In any type of legal agreement or any type of agreement, no one is bound by an agreement that is illegal, immoral, or unethical. So if I was somehow in an agreement, right? Let's just say, there is some type of unspoken agreement that is between a parent and their child and their adult children. There's an agreement that you will stay, that you will take care of the parent, that you will always be around, that you will, there are expectations of adult children to their parent. So let's just say, for the sake of this demonstration, that I was, in some type of agreement or some type of agreement or principle, like this definition says, and I have failed to observe or respect that. When I can't possibly be bound to an agreement that is illegal, immoral, or unethical. But instead, if we really look at the situation, we will find that the dishonorable behavior, the actual violations in this situation, are not on my part. And that I've been quite reactionary, which I'm not necessarily proud of, but it is what it is. And so I suppose that this frees me a bit, and I'm hoping that it frees you a bit, because I know that I'm not the only one who has had issues with a toxic parent. And then when you have one who is religious on top of that, then they love to throw out these scriptures that, make you feel convicted and bound to, some type of relationship with them that does not serve you. And it just seems to me that if these scriptures are thrown out there for us to be bound to and be held to, then maybe we need to take a deeper look at the scripture. Maybe we need to figure out, is this really what God intended for us to do? Is this really what was intended. And if not, then that you've given me a distorted image of who God is. And that's dishonorable. So that's our, I don't even know what we're gonna call this. This is just our thoughts for the day. We were just made to believe by people just throwing these scriptures at us like they're weapons. And it just was never intended to be that way. I'm sick and tired of people who are doing this and just getting away with it. No, I'm going to use that exact same scripture that you're trying to convict me with, and I'm going to actually dig deep into it. I'm going to actually do the spiritual work that is necessary to understand these principles, despite how you're trying to make me look at it, despite what distortion you're trying to cause me to have, despite whatever deceptions and doctrine of demons you want to spew. But what hurts is that we all know that everybody isn't capable. Everybody is not capable of thinking about things like more in depth like this. Actually going to the dictionary, reading the scripture and trying to have an actual discussion or, a dialogue about what it really means. And knowing that is what angers me, because people who violate, who use scripture and use this type of stuff to as weapons against others, it's like they know what they're doing, and they know that some people just do not have the capability, have the mental ability to understand that. Instead, they're just bound by your interpretation of, and your deceptions and your manipulation. They're just like kind of stuck. And they depend on people like me who can speak out against it. They depend on people like us, like you and me, like you and I, to speak out and just be like, look, no, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. So that's our word for the day, boo. So I love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day. This is Dolores, the pastor's daughter. Bye-bye for now.